Deshaun Tyson here with Zoo and Peebush. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Had a nice Thanksgiving. Got to watch some football, man. Bulls kept rolling against the Hornets. Tough loss against the Heat, but that was bound to be a tough game. So solid sports weekend and good time spent with family.
Oh, yeah, the Bulls, beautiful, man. I give them a break, man. And not the Rockets lost. That's inexcusable. That was inexcusable. We lost to a team that had one win, man.
Sleepwalking.
They were on pace to win 5 games this year. Losing to that team, that was embarrassing. But at least they redeemed themselves, whooping that Orlando Magic's ass and then beating LaMelo Ball. That was a beautiful game last night. That was a beautiful, beautiful game last night, man.
Yep.
But man, oh, man. This week of football, man.
Oof.
Crushing, man. Absolute crushing.
Crushing.
Injuries. Injuries, man.
RB injuries, especially.
Yep.
Oh.
Thanksgiving, man. I was not very thankful for that Detroit Lions game when DeAndre Swift got injured, man. I was shitting myself.
Yep.
I turned the game off the minute he got injured. He got that shoulder injury. I'm like, I'm done. I can't watch this game anymore.
You didn't want to see that riveting Bears win by 2 points on a field goal? My God, man. Just a painful Thanksgiving. Followed up by a beautiful game in Dallas with the Raiders. That was a hell of a game.
Yeah. I felt like the Raiders were going to miss that last kick because Dallas kept going off sides. And I almost thought they were like, because I think didn't they end up getting a first down? And I was like, I wonder if they could just do something with that. But I think they kicked the field goal on first down. So still holding out hope for Dallas to think this is a new year. And I think because of the NFC East, I have a lot of faith. But man, oh man, if they lose this Thursday and Washington ends up winning their game, it's going to get really interesting in the NFC East. Because I tell you what, I think they played Dallas twice in the last couple of weeks. So, and Dallas has not been the best team in, as you would say, like pressure situations. So we're going to keep an eye out for that. But in terms of week 12, as the guys were talking about, there's a lot of games. Thanksgiving had a couple of games that were, I guess you could say so. The Dallas and Raiders game was actually the best game, I think, of the night. So I wanted to get the guys' thoughts on, where they stand. Right now, we're kind of on the home stretch with the NFL. Before it's going to be wild card weekend. There's going to be a lot of teams getting into the playoffs. So I wanted to ask the guys where they stand with some teams. And Peebush, I'm going to start with you.
I thought the most surprising one, and maybe they're going to be climbing this division, man, but that Bengals absolute nearly a shutout. To me, it still felt like a shutout by the end of that game, even though Big Ben finally threw a touchdown to Freiermuth there at the end for garbage time. But the Bengals, man, they look good. And I know the Steelers, they're always...
Their defense is horrendous.
It's horrible. And TJ Watt's been in and out, and they just don't know what to do. But I was most impressed by the Bengals defense. I thought that they were able to really contain Najee Harris. I think he had like 2.9 rushing yards, something like that, per carry. And they only had 3 catches. And if he's out of the game, the Steelers aren't doing anything, man, because if you can't get Najee going, how do you expect Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, all those guys to get open? Chase Claypool with pretty dirty play there towards the end against that Bengals cornerback just ripping off his helmet. Luckily, the Bengals teammates were able to avoid an Isaiah Stewart chasing out of the stadium. Would have been the second time in sports in 2 weeks, damn near. But look, man, Joe Burrow did his thing, got a rushing touchdown, which I'm sure the owners were a little nervous watching him dive for that pylon run in there with that knee. But my biggest regret of this fantasy season, man, trading Joe Mixon to Andy Zoo across from me because that man is a monster these past 4 or 5 weeks, man. He's always been a consistent back. I think you can kind of always pencil him in as a second-round fantasy draft pick, kind of as your RB2. But, man, he is a true RB1 this year. He's probably a top 5 back. I haven't looked at the exact stats, but I'm sure he's up there now with all these injuries.
Top 4, baby.
Top 4. There you go. But yeah, that Bengals win, that puts them at 7-4 in a division where both the Steelers and I know, the Browns are, God knows if we want to even talk about them today, but it's kind of pulling away between them and the Ravens and, the Chargers lost. So the Bengals are now they're putting themselves into that wild card discussion and possibly holding it because I think all 3 of us thought that they were going to collapse, not necessarily that quickly, but, kind of be around 500 towards the end of the year. So that's definitely an AFC team I'm watching.
Yeah, man. Thank you again for Joe Mixon.
He's
been a savior for my team. He's been my most valuable player. He's become the face of my franchise over Aaron Jones with bum knees and not playing much right now. AJ Dillon taking like second half. He took most of the carries in the second half. Like Aaron Jones should have just
might have to consider starting him.
Hey, that dude should have just taken the week off, man. And he has a bye week the next week, man. Hurting my fantasy team, man. And he didn't do much. So AJ Dillon, he's a solid backup back. I don't know what Green Bay was thinking, but that was a weird decision by them. But man, oh man, my biggest takeaway, man, these injuries, man.
Mm-hmm.
Christian McCaffrey out for the season.
I
gotta say this again, man. Guy's a Band-Aid. Cam Newton looked horrendous.
Oh, 5 completions. Bro.
I don't even know
7 passer rating.
My Lord, the week before you looked like a beast. The second week you can't complete a pass, man.
5 of 22.
That team. I would put them as unwatchable now. But without Christian McCaffrey, who's an RB stud, and with Cam Newton regressing back to the mean, man, you're looking awful. That Carolina Panthers team, embarrassed.
And their defense got exposed.
Yeah.
That had actually been playing well. So I don't know. I mean, for me, the Panthers, it's McCaffrey, and I don't think, and I actually may have mentioned this a week or two ago, I thought they were going to possibly make a playoff push with the Saints kind of falling down. They had a horrible game against the Bills. That was unwatchable. Without Kamara, they're kind of in the same boat there. But this Panthers team, I mean, they're falling, man. They're falling.
Yeah, man. And I got shout outs to Jalen Waddle. This
Beautiful.
rookie class of wide receivers, man, has been mad impressive. This dude, Jalen Waddle, is putting up a sneaky season. Obviously, with Jamar Chase putting up all-time numbers as a rookie, Jalen Waddle with a shaky QB situation.
Yeah,
he's putting up probably a 1,000-yard season, man.
Easily.
My God, 137 yards on 9 receptions, man. Tua, he looking decent now, man. He looks like an average startable quarterback now. Shout outs to Myles Gaskins too, man.
I dropped him early on in the year. He was trash.
Dude, the first 6 weeks, man, this dude was the worst running back ever, man. My God, he was getting 5 to 6 carries, man, getting 10 to 20 yards a game. And then now this dude's like a touchdown machine, man. They use him at Wildcat, man. They just give him the ball running in. I love that play. I know he's getting the ball because he ain't throwing that. He's running that bad boy in to get a tutty, man. But yeah, the Miami Dolphins, man.
4 in a row.
Yeah, it looks pretty impressive, man. Because that team at the beginning of the year, zero expectations, man. Zero expectations. I did not like the roster, man. But wow, they got some nice young pieces in. Tua to jail Waddle. And nice little young combination.
Gesicki's another beast on that team, and if they can keep gas.
No, as a Gesicki shareholder in fantasy football, my Lord, man, he broke a record on 8 targets. He has 0 receptions, man, 0 receptions. That was the first time it was done in 30 years. So I'm out of Mike Gesicki, man. What I give Gesicki is whenever he catches the ball, he gets real excited, man. He tried to get the crowd, he's hyping up the crowd, but man, oh man. Another mediocre week in fantasy football for Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, I almost traded Kyle Pitts for him, and I'm glad I didn't. Even though Kyle Pitts is not great either.
Yeah,
Kyle Pitts he's had at least a couple of boomer games. Gesicki's kind of been he's been hot or cold. I think he had one good week. I think it was against Tampa Bay, maybe, but that was when Brissett was in and Tua was struggling. But I'm kind of going to bounce off the Miami factor. They won, I think, 4 in a row. And I think the more interesting play that's going to be going forward is if they continue to because their schedule is pretty. I think they got the Jets and the Giants. So I think that if they get maybe those next 2 games, I think there's a bye in between there. Maybe it could maybe take them out of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes because it's going to have Flores thinking, okay, maybe we can build around Tua. We don't have to give up all this capital because I think they have a pretty good amount of draft picks coming up. So they could just keep continuing to build around Tua, whether it's offense or defense. That could take them out of the sweepstakes. And what we're going to talk about later is maybe have Watson redirect where he may end up going next year, pending his case gets situated. But I think another team, and I mentioned it a little bit before we got on here, was the Washington Redskins. I'm not a big fan of Taylor Heineke. I'm just not. I think he's kind of on that bridge between he's kind of like Fitzmagic a little bit, better, but you don't want to say, hey, going into the next year, have him on the billboard saying, hey, this is our future starter. You don't
4-year $100 million
guy. Yeah. He's not getting that type of contract.
No.
But for what they're doing right now, I think we've killed their defense, and for rightly so because their defense was trash at the beginning of the year. They kind of picked it up a little bit. I mean, it was kind of impressive. What they
Russell
did
Wilson was horrible in that game.
I don't think he's all the way back.
He missed DK Metcalf for a wide open touchdown. I don't know if you guys saw that play, but right. DK Metcalf, hands open, man. He's like, give me the ball. He chucks it the other way. I'm like,
Yeah, and they almost won that game last night with the whole
yeah.
like fiasco with the onside kick and all that stuff. If
Oh,
that guy was
my.
lined up right, they would actually probably because I think Russell would have got him into field goal range again. He would have spiked it. And they probably would have won. But yeah, he was lined up incorrectly, so that kind of messed up the whole comeback story. But you know, with Washington, I just kind of like his gamer. I guess he's kind of like a gamer type personality and how he plays. He made some clutch throws to get him down to where they almost scored. I think that one touchdown or the 2-point, whatever.
Yeah, they got Lance
I
Thomas
think,
back. That's big.
He's a beast. Yeah, he's a real big beast. It's crazy. He was a quarterback in college.
Yeah.
And now he's like, when he's healthy, he's like a really good tight end. But they're a team I'm kind of looking at, you know, wouldn't say they would win the NFC East because Dallas has got such a commanding lead. But like I said before the pod, if Dallas loses against the Saints and Washington, I think who is Washington playing this week? I'm not even sure. I think it's the Raiders. I think.
Yeah, they are playing the Raiders. Yep.
So I think it's Vegas out there in Las Vegas. If they somehow win that, it's going to get interesting because we know Dallas is the type of team that welts under pressure. And they have a whole situation with, I know their coach is going to be out Thursday because of COVID. We don't know how many outbreaks.
Is a benefit.
You know,
Mike McCarthy is a bad head coach, man. Clock management, guy is clueless, man. He's only got a little clout because he won a championship with Aaron Rodgers.
True.
Like,
I was speaking more towards like maybe other people in the organization, like players or something like that, being out because of COVID. So I agree with you. McCarthy's he rode that magic carpet ride with Aaron, and now he's parlayed that into the Dallas Cowboy job, which is crazy to me. That is insane that he got that job. Actually, I think the offensive coordinator would be a better fit for a head coach. Kellen Moore, I think. So we'll see how that goes. But if they lose that game against the Saints and Washington comes up and beats Vegas, that's going to get the attention of a lot of teams because I had a lot of stock in the Eagles last week, and Jalen Hurts let me down. Even though he won the game, throwing a great pass to Rager at the end, Rager dropped it.
Yep.
And if you go back and look, Devontae was streaking on the side, and he had his hand up. And if you just follow Devontae, he was so pissed off that he didn't get the ball, and for good reason, because it's like, why are you throwing it to Jalen Rager, who's not? I mean, you could probably say he's probably number 2 option just because of bodies, but Devontae's the number 1 guy. He should have threw it to him, but Jalen didn't see him, so that kind of ruined my chances of thinking the Eagles had a chance in that division. So
he was awful though.
Yeah,
as a Jalen Hurts fantasy shareholder, my Lord, that cost 2 of my teams, man. It was not even close. He dropped 5 points in fantasy.
Yeah,
and he didn't have that.
And he was awful too. Like those picks, man, they were awful picks, man.
Yeah,
it's the Giants. They lost to the Giants, Andy. Oh, come on, man. You love to hate New York teams, man, even though you're a New Yorker yourself right now.
Man, they all awful, man. Giants and Jets, man, those teams are unwatchable.
Jets got another win, man. That's their 3rd of the year. That's more than probably the last 2 years combined, damn near. So
I don't know if it's the Giants or the Jets that have like the worst record over the last like 5 or 10 years in the whole league.
I don't know, but
it's one of those franchises.
I think they hold 3 of the top 8 picks this year in the draft. The Giants have 2.
And they'll screw it up. Go look back to the draft. What was it? I think it was – what draft was it? With Daniel Jones, that draft. They screwed that. I think they had 3 picks that year. They screwed it
2019 draft?
Yeah, I think they had Dexter Lawrence, Daniel Jones, and somebody else they drafted. And might have been a safety. I'm not sure. But they screwed all 3 of those picks up. So I don't trust Gettleman. Like, Gettleman's got to get out of there before I think they have a chance at maybe doing well in the draft. Because Daniel Jones is not there, so they need to move on after this year. Like, he's thrown for, like, I think 14 touchdowns. Like, he hadn't thrown a lot. Like, he's just not a guy that's – now, he's super athletic, but he's not a guy I think that can get them over the hump. And we're going to talk about it later. That might be one of the destinations for one of the 3 quarterbacks we're going to talk about. So, I feel like they need to get in a whole, hey, push all my chips into the table, draft picks, one of our best players, and we'll go get the quarterback of our future because I don't see it with the Giants. It's hard with the Jets with Zach Wilson because they just drafted him, but it would be hard to sell that to your management. Like, hey, we just drafted him, but there's another guy we can maybe go get. Can we do that? I don't know if they can do that. So I think the Giants are in a prime position with the draft picks that they have. They need to go all in. So I don't know. The NFC East, like I say, if I'm a betting man, which I'm not, I would place all my money on Dallas because they have such a big lead, and I just don't think they can collapse that far. But it will get interesting if they lose after this week. So that's what I'm saying.
They win the NFC East, man. They ain't losing that.
No, they're not losing.
I think it's a lock. The teams are so bad, man. Like the Eagles,
they really
the Washington football team, like Giants, like come on.
Nothing special, man.
It's just I think it's because I just don't have.
They're not even average, man. I think they're all below average teams.
No, they're all below average, and I think Dallas is like good or I don't know. That Raiders game
they're
was,
definitely above average, man. They got their guys back from injuries and COVID.
That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. Like I just hate how they fall in love with throwing the ball. They just won't stop doing it. They won't stop.
Know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
So I hate it. Like I just can't.
I forgot they lost Zeke too, man. They might rest him for a couple weeks.
Yeah, of course.
I'm telling you, Sue, this is probably his last prime year, bro. It's looking slow for Zeke.
Might be.
Stop.
Because he looks bad. Now I'm not saying Pollard's the
That's
answer.
Zoo's baby right there.
Yeah, I know. It's his baby. I know.
Stop it. He ain't done. He needs 15 to 20 carries, man. He needs 15 to 20 carries.
He can handle it.
Oh, he can handle it. Look at that dude, man. He's built like a running back.
Let me ask you a question.
3 down back.
When Tony Pollard, and I just thought this and I was laughing to myself. I didn't say nothing to nobody in my house because nobody would have got it. But when I saw Tony Pollard take that kickback,
stop it.
He looks more explosive than Zeke, bro.
Nah, I knew you were gonna bring that up. I knew you were gonna bring that up.
Better back, but he's more
just because full to Devin Hester doesn't mean he's a better running back, man.
Hey man, I wasn't comparing.
Hey, Devin Hester, he's up for first ballot Hall of Fame right now. So don't you dare. Don't hate on that name.
Never compare him to that. Devin Hester had people not even wanting to punt the ball. Like,
yeah, no, they changed the kickoff rules for him.
Yeah,
they moved it to the 35, man. Instead of the 25 where you kick off.
Okay.
Game record. But
stop it.
I did want to make
Tony
a comment.
Pollard, stop it. Just stop.
I did want to make a comment on Washington though, because they're in the playoffs right now. As of right now, they just passed the Vikings.
Man,
and
so sad.
Well, it is sad, but they're 5-6. They have the same record of the Vikings, who just lost Dalvin Cook. We know what Madison can do. He can come in and give you 100.
He can pretty much put up Dalvin Cook numbers. Like,
yeah, he
from
can.
the 2 games he missed, put up almost close to 20 fantasy points both games, man.
Exactly. And the funny thing is the Saints, Falcons, Vikings, and Washington are all 5-6, and they're vying for that 7th spot right now. So that those are a lot of teams. I mean, the Eagles are only a half game back because they haven't had their bye yet. Carolina's still there. I mean, the NFC is so subpar at the bottom half. I think they have four or five true winning teams. Yeah, I mean, with the Niners winning, they finally have a 6th team.
That's another
they're all
team
vying for one.
Kind of came around and changed their season around the Niners. Debo's starting to become one of the most versatile players in the league, dude.
Him and Cordero, man, they're kind of the opposite of each other.
These hybrid wide receiver running backs.
Yeah,
Debo Samuel, the way they use him, I think he's a better running back than a wide receiver, man.
Like
this dude's a freaking monster.
Yeah, he's built like a running back too.
I think he's going to be out for a week. I think they said
he's out for 1 to 2 weeks.
1 to 2 weeks. I think he's out. So I mean, Elijah Mitchell carried them. I mean,
he's really good too.
He's really good,
and the head coach loves using him. Like when they give him the ball, he's like he gets like 15 to 20 carries a game. Like they don't even use the backups. Like Trey Sermon, like Jeff Wilson, barely ever. So like they love using Elijah Mitchell. And guy's like a 6th round pick.
Yeah. That might be a good 1-2 punch next year with him and Mozart, depending on if Mozart comes back. That might be a really nice 1-2 tandem.
Raheem Mostert, I feel that guy's gonna retire, man. This dude gets injured after every week. Week 1 of every year, man. I feel like the dude gets injured, man.
But they're a team that's hot right now. I'd say the 2 hottest teams, at least in the NFC right now. I mean, it's kind of tough. I mean, you got to give it to the Niners, and then you got to probably give it to the Packers, man. I mean, they just got 2 huge wins back, or not 2 huge wins. They had a tough loss against the Vikings, but that was a big win against the Rams too. Yeah, I mean, beating up on a defense, star-studded, but has some gaping holes because I feel like they have to pay 4 guys.
Boy, let me tell you, Matt 11. Stafford, bro, he better start picking it up. He's had 3 pick sixes in the past 3 games. Like, what is
that? Was the difference.
I don't even know how you do that.
That's the difference, man. That was 1 touchdown right there.
I don't understand. Like, all right, listen, nobody's saying Jared Goff is near his talent, but I think there could have been. I don't know what the quarterback market was last year when they were looking for a quarterback, but to be like, okay, Matt Stafford is the guy we're putting all our chips into. I don't know. Like, I mean,
him or Dalton.
Yeah, I'll take Stafford then. Sorry.
Exactly.
Never mind. I get it. Never mind.
But they also
those are your choices, man. Yeah.
But they also traded for him, right?
Yeah, Jared Goff and a bunch of picks.
Yeah, so they didn't, sign him. So you kind of consider them as what if one of the guys that, I don't know if we want to talk about that now, Sean, but the guys that could be on the market coming up. Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and we already talked about Deshaun Watson. Could the Rams have waited and tried to get one of those guys? Probably, but with all the money that they're paying, They had to do it.
They're
this
a win
year.
now. Yeah, they're a
They
win
had
now.
to do it.
This is
year.
what I don't understand, especially with. Okay, I understood, and like nobody's saying Jared Goff is this like life-changing quarterback, but you did go to a Super Bowl with him. I don't know why you couldn't just maybe ride out one more year with him. And you got to understand, if you follow any of these players, like Jalen Ramsey, a lot of the guys that are on the Rams have this. His name's David Mugetta. He's Mugetta. I'm probably messing up his last name, but he's an agent, and he also sponsored Deshaun. You don't think they're talking and saying like, "Yo, I'm trying to get out of like Houston in the next year." You don't think you say, "Okay, well, we'll keep Jared this year." Now nobody knew his allegations were going to come, but it's like Deshaun has that no trade clause to where he could have finessed that into look. Whatever you guys do, you got to trade with LA because that's the only place I'm gonna go. And then he would have had the
cap.
Yeah,
because they could trade one of their expensive players. Like, dude, if because to a team like the Texans that really needs help on defense, they need help all around. I think their best player is probably Brandon Cooks. Okay, that's probably their best player. Overall, I'm not that familiar with their D line or O line, so maybe there's a beast there somewhere.
No, they lost to the Jets.
There you go.
Probably
Cooks. But hey, so have two other teams, including the Bengals. So I mean, they need somebody like a big name guy. I don't think that they would trade Donald straight up for Deshaun Watson. I think he's probably the only untouchable player other than maybe Cooper Kupp now because of this.
Would you give him a package? Would you give him a package of Darnold, Kupp, and like if they had their picks, like 2 first-rounders? Or maybe a combination of like Jalen and Kupp and whoever, like the best defensive player and like Kupp. Because you got to think before this, everybody knew Kupp was good, but not to this level. So you would be.
Well, Kupp's cheap right now. He hasn't signed a contract yet. So once he signs one, and I don't think the Rams will actually have the ability to sign him unless they move one of those defensive players. I don't know what their cap is at right now, but that's a team that probably should have waited. To your point, Sean, like how much, like all the work that they had to put in with Stafford when he came in, was it really worth all that instead of just keeping the same guy for another year that knew the system and maybe could have just practiced executing it better? Because we all know that Super Bowl was boring as hell, man. That was a horrid Super Bowl.
That's probably one of the worst Super Bowls.
That was the worst.
It was worse than the Colts Bears back in 07, man. January of 07.
Because at least that had more highlight plays. Like,
man, first play was better than the entire game.
Man. Exactly. The only highlight was Gronk's catch down the field, man, and it set up a touchdown run. I mean, what do you? So the Rams, they should have waited, but I don't. Do you think they'll actually pull the trigger on Deshaun?
No, because I don't think
they're invested in Stafford already, man.
They don't have any. They have no capital whatsoever. So that's kind of an avenue where they, like you said, I just think all these guys talk. I don't know how, and I don't know if there's a scout that has a position to like specifically go to and look around and snoop and see, okay, which player at this organization, because I know that's tampering, you would say, but it's like which players you kind of could talk to guys about. Okay, this guy's like Aaron's pissed, like he's done with Green Bay. Like, how do you not know that? Like just a year later, because I hate to think that Aaron wasn't already saying this to other guys in the league, and you can't tell me Aaron wouldn't have liked to have gone to LA or Deshaun, especially Deshaun, because one, every agent loves when their players are on the same team because it's a lot of continuity and more, I guess, ways that the agent can get paid. But that should have been a situation that I think LA should have waited. I don't know if that was a McVay or a management thing. I started to think it's McVay because I don't think McVay liked Jared at all. So I think he was pushing that, trying to get Stafford. I know it's him. But I do think it's still, like you say, it's not early, but they still have a chance to make a decent little run to get into the playoffs. It's not like they're sitting outside the playoffs. So as long as they get in the playoffs and they figure it out, maybe that's a situation. Like I said, we already kind of transitioned to the topic right now, talked about it, but I wanted to ask the guys really quick. The quarterback market now more than ever is ever changing with like different teams having negotiations and different deals and things like that. So, I just thought of 3 quarterbacks with Deshaun. We just talked about Russell and Aaron. If they were, and this is a big, if on the market this coming year, you can look at Russell's situation in Seattle, Aaron kind of having his whole fiasco last summer or this past summer, and Deshaun's situation with him wanting to get out of Houston. Who would you take in terms of, you could be any team, any franchise, whatever. Who would you take? And Zoo, I'm going to start with you on this one, man.
You already know his answer.
Yeah, I know.
Aaron Rodgers, the most valuable player in football. This dude is at another level right now, man. This dude coming off of COVID, kicking ass already, man. Kicking ass, man. This dude dropping dimes like I've seen in that MVP season of last year and a couple years ago back in 2011, man. Like what Aaron Rodgers has done, It is
With
so
9 toes.
That dude, oh yeah, man. He even ran on that whatever it was, like fractured toe or COVID toe, whatever that toe was.
Whatever
man.
it is.
I have no idea what that thing was. But man, oh man, he does not look injured at all when he plays football. Like what he has done. Like people are talking about Matt LaFleur, coach of the year candidate. Stop it. Just stop it. Stop the disrespect, man. It's Aaron Rodgers. Like it's happening again, man. They're like, oh, Matt LaFleur. He has one of the best records ever as a head coach. Duh. He's getting to coach Aaron Rodgers. Like you get wins when you coach a guy that can make plays like no other quarterback. And when he's off the field, we saw that fiasco with Jordan Love. That game was unwatchable. Devontae Adams looked like me trying to catch balls out there because he got Jordan Love throwing it to him. He's like, man, what is this, man? Like, I swear to God, when Jordan Love goes on the field, the Packers are the Houston Texans, are the New York Jets, are the New York Giants. They're unwatchable. Unwatchable. But when Aaron Rodgers plays, must-see TV, baby.
Disclaimer, Jordan Love's only had 1 star. There's a disclaimer.
Wow. He's lucky to get 1 star. After that performance, it should have been 0 stars.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I'll give you that.
My Lord.
Against the worst defense in the league.
They would have had better odds with Blake Bortles, man. Blake Bortles would have put up a better performance than that.
Trubisky would have won that game.
Dude, yeah, but Mitchell Trubisky, I hate Trubisky because the Bears took that dude over 2 franchise quarterbacks. But man, oh man, Trubisky looking like a Hall of Famer compared to Jordan Love, man. Jordan Love. This is a dude that pissed off Aaron Rodgers, but man, oh man, if you get an opportunity to get Aaron Rodgers, trade every single draft pick, trade whatever. Just ask the Packers, what do you want? And let's get a deal done, man. That's all I need, man. How many first-round picks? Max that baby out.
7?
Yeah, I don't care, man. If you get Aaron Rodgers,
even
he
for
can
like
play with a bunch of dodo birds, man, win some games, man.
Dude, he could retire at any moment, and he is the type of person to do that. Like, that's the only thing. I think
I would only do a deal. I feel like I would only do a deal if it was like, I think he
retire at the top of his power.
He don't seem like he's not. He don't seem like he's obsessed with football like Tom is.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's obsessed with football like Tom Brady. Dude's 45, close to being a grandpa. He's gonna still want to play football. Like, that dude is man. I don't know how he got that motivation after winning so much, man. But Tom is built different. But Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Tom's a little different.
He's the most talented quarterback of all time, though.
What?
Rodgers. Yeah. Most talented quarterback of all time, man.
And he's the best thrower ever. I love
that throw, that deep pass. That deep pass to Devontae Adams never gets old, man.
No.
That was such a beautiful throw.
It honestly doesn't even matter who's on the receiving end. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, Marquez Valdez. Yeah, we saw that. Without Devontae Adams, they get wins.
They scored too quickly.
Like last 6-7 games, 7-0 without Devontae Adams. So I'm just
would you do a deal that's like, I would probably maybe do a deal that's like contingent on like the first round picks to like not so much like
first round picks,
sevens. I would do
first round picks.
I'm saying
you
like
get Aaron Rodgers for first round picks.
No, Andy, listen to what he says.
I'm saying like for however many years he plays. Like say for instance he played 4 years and I gave him 7 picks. No, I would only give him first round picks for each year he played. So like if he retires in 4 years, you only get 4 first round picks. I'm not giving 7 for 4 years of Aaron Rodgers. That's not
happening. Depends what 7, man. Like you give him like a late pick. 4th rounder, 5th rounder, who cares?
I mean,
who cares? I don't care.
You'd have to give a player, and they obviously are not bought into Jordan Love whatsoever. They are.
I don't even know what playoff
avoiding at any cost to have to play him to the point where Rodgers is playing through a broken toe, which he could easily sit out for if he wanted to, and he's not practicing. So what is Matt? I mean, Matt LaFleur, he's a good coach, and he's kept everybody else on the team, coordinated, everything all good. All Rodgers has to do is look at a little film, walk out on the field, and just throws 302 touchdowns with 100.
We're talking about practice for Aaron Rodgers. That man's just built to throw. He's born to throw a football, man.
He ain't talking about practice, dude. That's the only thing.
We ain't talking about practice. Just throw to the dude that's wide open, man. It's not that hard, man. You can make every throw. When you make every throw, it's easy, man. You just look out there. Who's open? Boop. That easy, man. That easy for Aaron Rodgers. Unlike Russell Wilson, who's a train wreck. That dude was a train wreck last night.
He's off injury.
Zoo, he's for sure.
Aaron Rodgers off injury too.
Yeah, but it's not
COVID and an injury, man. COVID and
hand, though. It's different.
Throwing
break Aaron Rodgers' finger, he'll still make throws, man. Come on, it's too good, man. It's too good. All right, baby, that Aaron Rodgers put on a cast. Whoop,
dude. Come on. All right. Well, that's a major hypothetical that I don't think we'll ever see play out because Rodgers just rarely gets hurt. or if he plays through it, he plays through it. But look, man, I think you can. I mean, look, as a team, you can't just deny Russell Wilson. He's only 33. I mean, he's significantly, by quarterback standards, younger than Rodgers.
Yeah.
I know he's having a bad time of it the past couple weeks, but look, man, he came off that injury way faster than people expected. I think they gave him
it was the expected timeline. He came off it was like 4 weeks.
I think it was early.
It was like
4 to 5 weeks,
early.
and he came back in 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay, all right, well, sure, but look, he's got two great weapons, and I think that's going to force him. It's gonna be tough for him to actually leave. And I think that's, because he has DK and he's got Tyler Lockett. Those are two
that's all the weapons you need, man.
Pro Bowl weapons. But, I'm looking at a team over in Pittsburgh that might need a guy. And you're talking about, it's not like Seattle has beautiful conditions all the time. It's cold, it's rainy. He's used to shitty weather.
You think Russell Wilson's going to go to Pittsburgh?
I think if they were to pull off a trade, they wouldn't trade within the division. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't give him to like the Niners or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Obviously, the Cardinals don't need him. Rams, we talked about, probably will never go for that. I don't know. I'm looking at some teams. The Broncos could be another one. They have some solid weapons at wide receiver, decent running back field, great defense, mile high. He could bomb it. So, I mean, I'm not saying he's better than Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think I just knew you were going to argue Aaron Rodgers, so I had to play the devil's advocate here. But look, I think we can all agree that Deshaun's such a question mark that I'm honestly glad the Bears didn't draft him, because this situation still occurred, man. And right, I think it still would have occurred.
I don't know if you know the cities of Houston, and I don't want to touch any of that stuff, but if you know the city of Houston versus Chicago, the women in Houston and the situation in Houston may lend itself. I think in Chicago he might have been more. Not saying I don't know the guy, but it might have been more straight and narrow because this is a different deal in Houston. If you ever
and who knows if all the accusers now are even during his Houston times? It could have been.
Yeah, it could have been.
Who the hell knows at this point? Somebody might have come forward. He's just a big problematic guy. Probably, I think you could argue that he's more talented than Russell Wilson. And I don't think I could put him past Rodgers, but he's damn near in between those two guys, I think. If he's playing, healthy season, all 17 games now. But look, I think, Russ, if you're a team that's really in need of a quarterback and the situation keeps unfolding in Seattle, if they, decide to fire Pete Carroll or just move on from the both of them, that situation is going to get shaky, and Seattle might be looking for a full rebuild, especially because they traded away a lot for Jamal Adams. And if they're looking like this, they need those draft picks back. And the best place, I'm not saying Pittsburgh's his guaranteed destination, but Denver could have a couple good picks coming up, in this upcoming draft. If they start falling off a bit, they had a big win against the Chargers, which you didn't really talk about, but I don't know. I think that Russell is going to get some looks, and I think there are going to be offers whether or not we end up hearing about him.
I think with Russell, one thing we have to keep in mind, and it's just because I've just seen it talked about over and over on, I guess you would say, the social media space, is his wife. I think that's a big factor. I'm serious. I think it's a big. I think it's a big factor in where. That's why I brought up New York, because I think that is a situation where the Giants, yes, they have the draft capital. They have a quarterback they are not sold on. She would okay that situation. So I feel like that's the perfect match made in heaven. But I'm not mad at that Pittsburgh scenario because I think they're ready to get off Ben. I don't know if they're gonna do it or if he's just gonna retire.
They're not gonna kick Ben out, man. Unless Ben retires, they're not gonna kick off. Yeah, they're not gonna be like, Big Ben, bye-bye, we're gonna wave your ass.
And I think it's because you probably don't want to do that too because he won Super Bowls for you.
Two Super Bowls for you.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. But
if they have to, Big Ben would have to leave. They're not gonna tell Big Ben.
And it's possible.
It is. I mean, he could maybe say, "Look, I want a new change of scenery," even though I don't know who would take him. I don't know where he would go. I have no idea where he would go.
Go retire in Jacksonville.
Oh God, be a mentor to Trevor. That would be crazy. But I think that's just Pittsburgh. I just like their overall. I think they're one of the best run franchises in the NFL. So I like that construct of Russell being there. And they always have receivers in Pittsburgh. So that's another reason why I think Russell would like that situation, because it don't matter where they draft them low or how they always, whoever their scout is for receivers should be paid was the top assistants, whoever does the scouting for them, because they always have good guys. Like Deontay Johnson, I've never heard of him in college. And then he just comes up and is like a number one for them. And then they got Claypool and other guys. And I know, even though I'm not big on Shoe Smith or whatever, but They just always have guys that wide out. So I think that's a scenario that those two franchises would be players, or maybe the other New York team if you really want to move off Zach Wilson as early, which I'm not going to lie. If Russell says I want to go to the Jets, see you later, Wilson. I had a lot of stock in you, but you got to get out of here, man. See you later, bro. Hey,
But
man. Hey.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's almost doing, if he were to go to the Giants, let's say, because that is the better of the two, right?
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that, no matter how bad they are. That'd be like what Carmelo did, Zoo, when his wife wanted to go to New York and he could have had a better situation elsewhere, but he wanted to go to the big New York market. He would have much more success in Pittsburgh than he would ever having to wait for the Giants to make good draft picks. Yeah. I mean, Kenny Golladay is their damn number one, and they have a pretty now average tight end in Evan Ingram.
Kadarius Toney would Russell Wilson be nice,
Toney.
Man. That would be nice.
That'd be nice.
Saquon if he ever stays healthy.
Oh, he's a.
But that's not as good as Najee Harris, Chase Claypool, Deontay Harris, man. And we got Pat Freiermuth, dude. I mean, sorry, Deontay Johnson, by the way, but Pat Freiermuth's coming on his own. He's been having a pretty damn good season, so I don't know. I just hope he doesn't do that, but at the same time, he might also play the loyalty card and just stay in Seattle. I don't know, because they've won Super Bowls similar to
Russell Wilson would be talked about as a mega star if he was in New York or Pittsburgh. I just think him being up there in the Northwest, nobody cares. Like, the only reason why they've been relevant is because they had that legend of the defense, whatever that was a
Legion of Boom.
Legion of Boom. That whole thing, like, that was a moniker, and they had the defensive guys. But if I didn't even go pick. I'm still picking. For me, I'm still picking Deshaun because he's just so much younger. I'm still picking him, dude. I'm still picking him, bro.
Man, you're the biggest Deshaun Watson fan
dude,
ever, man.
So good, and he's a
bro. You got you're a GM. You get an
What was
opportunity to trade for Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson. You're taking Deshaun Watson,
dude. I'm taking Deshaun, dude. You got to think too. Seriously, go back and look at that and I know it's a small sample size, but go look at that. I think it was last year. Who was he throwing to last year? And was the league leader?
Problem is, he hasn't played football, man. We don't know when he's able to play football. It's a massive question.
I think it's different. Like if he was a receiver or running back, maybe. Like, I don't know how you can get quarterbacks. It's like riding a bike, dude. They all like you can play. Like dudes get injured and then they come back and they just, especially quarterback.
Alex Smith.
You don't get hit like. Now, Alex Smith always lost his leg, which was insane that he still played. But, like, I'm an upside guy, man. And I think with
upside guy, and you're not taking Aaron Rodgers, and Pete, one of the greatest quarterback ever?
He is. Not arguing that. But people brought up a point. He could retire next year.
Man, stop it. He ain't retiring being a
What if they won? What if they won? If they won, he retires. I would.
Stop.
Are you serious? I put stock in that.
Stop. You want to bet on that?
If I'm a betting man, I'd put $20 on that right now.
You want to bet on that? Yeah. If the Packers win if Aaron Rodgers wins the championship,
he's retiring.
Yeah. $20.
$20.
Virtual handshake. First bet on the Bull Handshake right there. More to come.
If Aaron Rodgers win, he gonna go back to back. He trying to go that double championship, baby. Are you kidding?
I think he
just looks like he's ready to ride off.
It's just the haircut, man. It's just the long hair, looking like a schlub, man. Like, yeah, he needs to get a haircut. He looks.
Let me ask you this: so Deshaun, I don't even know what is this. Does anybody know Deshaun age? I'm pretty sure he's 26 or 27. He has to be right around there. Let me ask you a question, just hypothetically: if you could have 10 Deshaun years, and that would only put him at 35.
26.
36. He's 26. That would put him at whatever. Mid-30s. If you could have 10 prime years of Deshaun, let's just say we can only go off what he did his last year. If you go look at his last year's stats, they were pretty incredible, even though the team lost. If you could have 10 years of Deshaun or 5 or Aaron, which one are you taking?
I get 10 years of Aaron?
5.
5 years
if
of Aaron?
that. Yeah.
That would put him at what, 43?
Yeah.
And nobody thinks Aaron's playing to 43. But
no, he's 37.
You think Deshaun's going to play till 36?
He'll be 38 in 2 days.
38 in 2 days?
Yep.
Yeah.
Russell just turned 33.
Give me the greatest thrower of the football. Give me the greatest thrower of the football.
I don't even know why I asked the question.
Come on, man. Dude, I'm talking. This dude is a franchise, man. You put him on any team, they're going to be relevant. Any team in the NFL. Any team. It doesn't even matter.
They'll
Put them on
probably
the
be the
Jets,
number
man.
one
You're
seed.
going to be must-see TV. Him and Corey Davis going to be breaking records, man. That's
I
what
think
Aaron
if
Rodgers
Deshaun
does.
did, I think the reason why I'm so high on him, if he didn't, because before that he had DeAndre, so it was kind of hard to be like, well, he don't have any weapons. But that year, last year, when he had Kenny Stills and he didn't have Brandon Cooks and he had no running
Will
game
Fuller.
and his defense was straight. Yeah, Will Fuller. He didn't have anybody and he still put up those numbers. Like that's when I was kind of like, okay, Deshaun can do this without any type of number one. And when he had DeAndre, they were making the playoffs and doing all that stuff. So that's just why. And like you say, if Deshaun was 31 or 30, I'd be with you. I'd be totally with you. But I'm thinking about it as a GM. Like if I get Deshaun, I'm be like, all right, that's 10 years. All right, let me build the rest of this team.
10 years?
Aaron,
What are you talking about, man?
35.
It might be 10 years in jail, man. Who knows? I don't know.
I know that's a huge. Listen, Aaron.
That's the only reason he hasn't been traded.
Yes, listen. I'm not saying. I'm thinking. Okay,
That's a factor.
Cleared. That is a huge factor, but I think he's beating it.
It's the factor.
To be frank, I think he's beating it. I don't
You
think he's going to jail for me. Yeah,
I don't know, man. I
I
haven't
just
heard
think
Adam
it's been too long.
Schefter say anything about Deshaun Watson coming back.
We'll see. I think he beats it. If
He's
we would
just
have known.
gonna
And I think too, they're going to have a really good case if they end up settling in civil court. He's going to have a really good case. Like, look, I sat out a whole year. Like Dave sat out this whole year. It's not like he served a punishment.
And he hasn't petitioned or anything really. He's kind of just accepted it.
And that case has been really quiet. So I feel like like how Zoo was doing or Peepers was doing. I think maybe all that's getting settled out. So pending he can play, I'm still taking him.
I would take him over Russell.
Yeah, definitely.
If that's the case. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I
And I
that's
love
why
Russell 'cause
I
Russell
can't
has
put
a
him above
championship.
Rodgers, but he's in between Rodgers and Russell. If he's 100%, like I would need like a guarantee that this is not coming up again.
I need an ink.
Either.
I don't need an
I'd be
pencil.
like
I need an
Deshaun,
ink.
like you're
Put a
going
clause
to.
in the contract. The minute that comes out, you're cutting immediately.
What's the most boring city with an NFL team, dude? Send him to Cleveland, man.
Jacksonville.
Like,
Even though Jacksonville
my
has
God,
Trevor, you
like,
can't do that, but.
dude, I don't know, but if he plays, man, he's one of the most extremely talented
And
players.
I hate that.
in
And
the
I hate
NFL.
that I didn't it's like you say Russell's third just because this is only 3 quarterbacks we're talking about, but Russell did lead his team to a championship, so it's not like he's chopped liver. You really can't go wrong. He did lead.
No, it was defense.
Defense was the majority, but defense Russell
made
was
Peyton
not,
Manning.
he wasn't Tom
look like
Brady.
the worst quarterback ever.
He wasn't Tom Brady.
Yes, he
His
was.
first year, Tom Brady got led by a defense. Russell was pretty decent.
Dude. He was just checking down, man. He was just letting the defense do their work.
I had to
Their
go look back at
offense.
the stats.
No, I remember, man. He was a facilitator, man.
But he's grown since then.
He wasn't the reason. If he beat the Patriots that year, he would have been the reason. But
he should have beat the Patriots that year if he just would have freaking stopped listening to Pete Carroll and checked it. Like he has I feel like that time he had enough clout to check.
That was
Pete
not
Carroll,
on
like,
him.
Yo, we're running the ball. I'm running the
He
ball,
should've.
bro. I know you want me to get the MVP, but I'm running the ball. This is the most logical situation that we should do. Yeah, that
lost me so
that's
much
so
money,
unforgivable.
I'll never forget. I remember exactly where I was when he decided not to run that one, and it just blew my mind, man. But look, Zoo, I got to comment on this, man. His career quarterback rating is a 102 for his career. That's pretty damn good. I think about 70% of his seasons he's been over 105.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Pretty
he's been pretty damn good. He's a beast. I mean, he's probably averaging what? I don't know exactly how many touchdowns he's throwing in a year, but it's consistently over 30, and this year is just an outlier. So he's a great quarterback, man. You could not go wrong with any of the three. I don't think
you can't go wrong with any of the three. And it really depends on like your needs. Like say the Rams had Jared Goff. Well, then obviously I know Deshaun would be available, but I would rather they probably would be the franchise would go with Aaron because like okay, we want to strike now, we want to win now.
Yep.
But if you're a team
that'd
like
be unbelievable, man.
Oh my
God.
Lord! If it was
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers
Rodgers
with those
with
weapons,
Sean
my God.
McVay
And
those
Cooper Kupp and
weapons,
Odell.
Oh my God! Oh my God! That
What
would
is
have
a
been
touchdown,
Let's
man?
give
special.
Andy a minute.
Dude, that would have been special. Sean McVay he's an elite coach. Like,
Yeah.
have you seen that stat when the dude's up after halftime?
Yeah, he's like
He has
he's
never
undefeated.
lost. He's never lost when he leads by halftime, man. That is straight up coaching.
Pure adjustments, man. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah, he's
man,
a
when this
superstar.
guy starts winning, he doesn't choke. He doesn't choke. And you give him Aaron Rodgers.
And I just thought
He'd
of
still
that, like,
He'd still
Cam
find a way to
Akers.
choke in the NFC Championship game, though. They get the 1 seed. get to the NFC Championship, and they wouldn't make
Only
the
with
Super
the
Bowl.
Packers, man. This dude's been embarrassing in the NFC games, man.
Yeah,
I will not forgive him for last year. Last year's performance was disgraceful. Man.
Yeah, especially with
Tom Brady
turned
threw
the ball over. Yeah,
Tom Brady threw like 2 picks in the fourth quarter, man. 2 extra possessions. Couldn't get it done. Couldn't get it done.
and they, like I just said, they don't have Cam Akers either. So imagine him with a really good running back and all those weapons on offense. Like, I don't know what the touchdown record is, but he would break it.
My
Yeah.
God.
So I don't know. Yeah, a lot of this is hypotheticals. Most of these situations that maybe the only realistic one is the Russell one because I think he really could move or demand a trade. So
yeah,
it's
Russell
going to be
interesting. His agent already gave out a list of teams already. So
Yeah.
he's
He's only got 1 more year in his contract.
He's been looking around already. So
they got to do the
he just got halfway out the door already, man. Like I feel like Russell Wilson after this season too, man.
3-8.
Injuries, losing games, looking bad.
Seattle,
like no run game. Defense is bad. Yeah, man.
Oh man, Seattle,
Rents.
man. Yeah, man. I don't know if, like you say, your wife's
He's
probably
not
pissed
worried.
off. Yeah, because you're in Seattle. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Giants need to make that trade. I'm 100% sure that they need to come to the table, be a grown-up friend. They talk about they are the franchise of New York. We'll act like it. Push all your chips to the table. Go get Russell. Because I'm telling you right now, that will be one of the best trades they ever made. Because I'm like I say, it ain't like basketball trades where you're giving up so much. I think they give up like the first rounders they got this year and maybe one, let's just say a defensive player, receiver, whoever. Galladay, whoever you want. They only need Galladay, but you can give up whoever. Russell's going to be that division in like, I love that. Great quarterback. Love Dallas. They have all the weapons. But then you could start shifting it to, okay, this is Russell's division now. Because then he's going to have talent on that as receivers, and that defense is going to get fixed. As long as they fire Gettleman.
And that's how Tom Brady's career will end. The Giants will somehow make it back to the Super Bowl and ruin his final season. That is how it will be done. And Tom Brady will then ride off into the sunset.
Facts. That's another thing we didn't get into. That Colts game was really interesting. I like, Tom
Carson Wentz looking good, man.
Yeah,
he's having a nice season.
He really
After
is.
some atrocious moments, but his
Did
numbers
that
are pretty
dime
nice
down the middle.
Yeah,
I don't know what he was doing on that last play though. He just like threw it into like the corner with like none of his receivers there. But I mean, it was
He just makes dumb plays randomly, man.
Yeah, it's almost like he
God. He's an MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Say he's an MVP.
He was no. I'm saying he plays like an MVP when he's really good, and then he just has dumb moments, man.
Yeah, he has a lot.
That's Carson Wentz for you. Yeah, he sprains both of his ankles at the same time. So.
Unbelievable. But yeah, the playoffs, it's right around the corner. These division races are heating up. It's going to be real interesting to watch. I would probably say the NFC more so than the AFC playoff race because there's just a lot of teams that are mediocre. So we're going to see who separates from the batch. But per usual, football, we're here. College football is coming up. They're going to be doing championships this weekend, and we'll have a couple dialogue about the playoff teams because there's only 4 of them. So that'll be coming soon. NBA is getting ready to get to the quarter
Shout
mark.
Out to the Phoenix Suns, man.
Yeah, that's a huge game. I think is that tonight?
A 16-game winning streak and playing against the Warriors.
I would be scared though. Like with that, I'm thinking I'm peaking too early. I hate winning that early. I want to lose against. Yeah, I don't like that. It's too many games in a row. I would rather lose like 2 or 3 and then break off another 7 or 8. But like you say, shout out to them. Like with the Michael Porter news for Denver, which is just devastating. Like that is all of a sudden.
Yeah, the
looks
minute
like it's
they
be
give
a
him
Golden
a max,
State
man.
Phoenix.
The minute he gets the max, his back breaks.
Yeah, that's tough.
Man,
that's super
or
tough.
He just
Hopefully, he can bounce
finally
back
have the surgery. That's what he finally did.
Oh, that might have been what happened. Might have been. I don't know how the MRIs work with preseason, but that might have been what happened. Which, if so, hey man, what a finesse, man! What a freaking finesse. Because geez, he's definitely gonna be out till next year. That is crazy. Because I don't even know. I think I saw a thing with Jamal. I don't know when he's coming back. I don't know if there's any incentive to. Because I guess by the time he comes back, yeah, who knows what they're gonna be. So yeah, Phoenix and Golden State. I'm not sure if they play tonight or tomorrow. That's going to be a matchup for looks like the Western Conference Finals, especially with how Chris is playing. Steph, Clay's going to be coming back anytime soon. So, they're like I said, they're at the quarter mark right now. It's almost Christmas with about a month to go. So we're going to see how the NBA team shape out when that comes. Make sure you guys follow us on bullheaded_pod. Great content all the time. Twitter, Instagram. Going to start getting TikTok up, getting a couple of things that you'll get that same content on TikTok that you'll get on IG Reels and things like that because of the platform. Make sure you follow us on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all those type of streaming platforms. And for me, Zoo and P. Bush, we're out.